You ever seen someone lose their mind over a string of Christmas lights? I'm not talking about a neighbor who complains they're too bright or that they blink too fast. No, I'm talking about a woman who actually tried to get me arrested. Yes, arrested for hanging holiday lights on my own house. And trust me, it only got crazier when the judge gave her an answer she never saw coming. It all started a week before December. My kids begged me to put the decorations up early this year. They love the season, the magic, the glow that makes our cabin look like something out of a Christmas movie. So I strung up the lights, wrapped the porch railings, and even set up a glowing reindeer in the front yard. It wasn't tacky, just festive, cozy, and cheerful. But apparently, cheer is a crime in the eyes of Karen, the self-proclaimed HOA enforcer. She came storming down the sidewalk like she was leading a SWAT team, phone in one hand, clipboard in the other, with the fury of someone who just discovered her latte had almond milk instead of oat. Those lights violate HOA Code Section 3. She screeched, pointing like I'd committed a felony. You're in violation of brightness limits and improper installation dates. I tried to laugh it off. Karen, it's just a couple of lights. It's Christmas. But she wasn't having it. She whipped out her phone and started dialing. I swear I thought she was calling her husband to vent. Nope. She was calling the sheriff's office. 5 minutes later, I had 2 deputies on my front lawn, trying to hold back their laughter as Karen ranted about community standards and light pollution. The officers glanced at the lights, warm white bulbs, nothing crazy, and then at me. One of them said, "Ma'am, these are Christmas decorations, not a crime scene." Karen puffed up like a balloon about to pop. "If you won't arrest him, I'll take him to court myself. This is a clear violation, and I won't tolerate it." I thought she was bluffing. Surely no sane person would waste court resources over a few holiday lights. But 2 weeks later, I had a summons in the mail. Karen had actually filed a complaint in small claims court, demanding my decorations be removed and a fine issued. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about lights. This was about Karen's obsession with control. And if she wanted to fight in front of a judge, well, I was ready to let the truth shine brighter than ever. The courthouse smelled faintly of coffee and old paperwork. And honestly, I couldn't believe I was there because of Christmas lights. I walked in wearing my best jacket, holding a folder of photos of the decorations, while Karen strutted in like she was leading a presidential campaign. Clipboard clutched tight, eyes narrowed. She looked at me as if I'd just been caught robbing Santa's sleigh. The judge entered, an older man with tired eyes and the patience of someone who had seen far too many ridiculous cases. He adjusted his glasses and asked Karen to state her complaint. That's when the performance began. "Your Honor," Karen started, standing tall, "this man has flagrantly violated our HOA rules by installing Christmas lights before December 15th and by using unauthorized brightness levels. These lights are a nuisance, a disruption, and a direct assault on community harmony. I demand immediate removal and compensation for emotional distress." I swear, even the court reporter raised an eyebrow at that. The judge nodded slowly, then turned to me. "Sir, how do you respond?" I held up the pictures. "Your Honor, these are the lights. Simple, warm bulbs around the porch, and a reindeer in the yard. No flashing strobes, no inflatables, no music blasting. Just a little early Christmas spirit for my kids. And the so-called emotional distress? Well, unless Karen's allergic to joy, I can't see how a few twinkling lights could possibly traumatize anyone." A chuckle rippled through the courtroom. Even the bailiff cracked a smile. But Karen wasn't laughing. She shot me a glare so sharp I half expected it to slice through my tie. The judge leaned back in his chair. "Mrs. Hendress, yes, her full name, I have reviewed the HOA bylaws you've submitted. Nowhere does it explicitly forbid lights before December 15th. It only suggests that residents be mindful of neighbors. As for brightness, these photos show a standard residential display. This is not Las Vegas." Karen's jaw dropped. But, Your Honor, he's undermining order. If you let him get away with this, what's next? Giant inflatable Santas? Flashing reindeer? This community will descend into chaos. The judge let out a weary sigh. Ma'am, this is not a dictatorship. Holiday decorations are meant to bring joy, not litigation. He tapped his gavel lightly. Case dismissed. The courtroom burst into whispers. Karen's face turned red as a Christmas stocking, and she looked like she was about to explode. But before she could storm out, the judge added one last line that silenced the room and made everyone grin. Mrs. Hendris, sometimes the best course of action is simple. Let it glow. When the judge said, "Let it glow," the whole courtroom chuckled, and I thought that was the end of it. Case dismissed, sanity restored, lights shining bright. But Karen? Oh no, she wasn't done. The very next evening, as my kids and I sat sipping hot cocoa on the porch, we heard the unmistakable sound of furious high heels stomping across gravel. Karen appeared out of the shadows like the ghost of Christmas anger, holding a flashlight and snapping pictures of my decorations like some kind of crime scene investigator. I called out, "Evening, Karen. Want some cocoa?" Her response? "You think you're clever, but this isn't over. The HOA board will hear about this." And true to her word, the next morning I got an official-looking letter stuffed into my mailbox. It wasn't from the court. Oh no. Karen had rallied her friends on the HOA board and drafted a special resolution. According to her, my lights were now under emergency review for unauthorized excessive festivity. Yes, that was the actual wording. At this point, my wife suggested maybe we should just turn the lights off to avoid more drama. But my kids looked crushed at the idea. And honestly, I was done letting Karen bully us. The judge had ruled in our favor. My lights weren't breaking any laws. Why should we let her ruin the season? So instead of backing down, I doubled down. That night, I added another string of lights, just a modest row along the fence. Nothing crazy, just enough to make Karen twitch when she looked out her window. Sure enough, I didn't have to wait long. At 9 p.m. sharp, a police cruiser pulled into the street. My stomach tightened. But when the officer got out, he was grinning ear to ear. "Evening," he said. "We got a call about dangerous levels of Christmas spirit." I laughed. "Let me guess, Karen?" He nodded. "Yep. Honestly, we figured we'd stop by just to see the display for ourselves." The kids ran out to show him the reindeer and the twinkling porch. The officer shook his head, smiling. "Looks fine to me. Tell you what, leave them up. Enjoy your holiday. If she keeps calling, we'll start charging her for wasting our time." Karen was standing at her window, seething. She looked like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. And that's when it hit me. Her crusade wasn't about rules or lights. It was about control. And by keeping my lights shining, I was proving she didn't have it. By now, Karen was unraveling faster than a cheap Christmas sweater. The court had laughed her out. The cops were tired of her calls. And the lights? Oh, they were glowing brighter than ever. But instead of letting it go, she escalated to the most absurd stunt yet. 2 nights before Christmas, I woke up to the sound of clattering outside. At first, I thought it was a raccoon messing with the trash cans. But when I peeked out the window, I saw Karen, dressed in all black, crouching like a wannabe ninja, snipping at the extension cord that powered my reindeer. "Are you kidding me?" I shouted, storming outside. Karen froze, scissors in hand, caught red-handed. This is a citizen's arrest," she shrieked. "You are violating HOA law, and I am authorized to take enforcement action." My wife came out with her phone already recording, and within minutes, we had footage of Karen trying to arrest me over Christmas lights while holding a pair of gardening shears like they were handcuffs. My kids peeked from the window, half terrified, half giggling. "Karen," I said, "the judge already told you. Let it glow. You're trespassing. This isn't an arrest. It's breaking and entering." She sputtered, waving her scissors. "You think you can mock me? I'll shut this down if it's the last thing I do." That's when the flashing red and blue lights appeared at the end of the street. The same officer from before stepped out, shaking his head. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "what exactly are you doing at your neighbor's house with a pair of scissors? At 2 in the morning? Karen's excuses fell apart faster than gingerbread in hot cocoa. I was enforcing regulations, she stammered. The officer sighed. Ma'am, you've officially crossed the line. You're being charged with trespassing and destruction of property. Her face turned pale as snow. But it's Christmas. He looked at her, dead serious. Exactly. Maybe you should have stayed inside and enjoyed it, instead of trying to ruin it for everyone else. By Christmas Eve, the whole neighborhood knew what had happened. And instead of siding with her, they rallied around us. Families brought over cookies. Kids took pictures with the glowing reindeer. And even neighbors who barely spoke before came to enjoy the lights. Karen? She stayed inside, curtains drawn tight. Her reign of HOA terror was officially over. As for us, we kept the lights shining brighter than ever. And every time I looked at them, I remembered the judge's words, the words that had become our holiday motto. Let it glow. If you enjoyed this crazy HOA Karen story, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more wild neighborhood dramas, and drop a comment below about what you would have done in my place. Your support keeps these stories glowing, just like my Christmas lights.